I just love that intro. Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the Business Plugs Mixer. Hi, my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the Business Plug. And so today I am going to plug you into information that you don't even know that you need. So we're going to have a great conversation. But before we go there, I want to tell you about two things. The first thing is if you would like to sample my 90-day online business course. I'm offering it for free for you to sample it. You're welcome to join us. It's on Saturday mornings at 10 a.m. So if you would like to sample it, then get in my inbox and tell me you would like to sample it. I need your name and your email address, and you can come join us. We are learning about yesterday was personal vision statements. My business owners created their personal vision statements. We're talking about building businesses from the ground up. So that course is entitled Building Your Own Business. And it's a 9-week, it's underwritten by the Kauffman Foundation. If you know about the Kauffman Foundation, they are the number one philanthropists worldwide for supporting entrepreneurs. And they've given me the access to teach you how to do business the right way. So you can join us on Saturday mornings from 10 to 1. It's a 3-hour course, and you can do it for free next Saturday. Just give me your name, give me your email address. Now, with that being done, if you would like to be on the Business Plugs Mixer, then that link is in the discussion as well. You can come join us. Pick your Sunday by clicking the link and go and follow the instructions. With that out the way, I've done my housekeeping, and I'd like to introduce you to the phenomenal Miss Mary Adelman. Hey, Mary, how are you?
Hi, Linda. Thank you so much for that great introduction. And it's so nice to be here with everyone this evening.
Well, thank you. So we are on LinkedIn, Facebook, and on YouTube, and we're talking about things that business owners specifically don't even know they need. Like
Right.
when you and I talked before, we talked about all the different resources that are out there for small business owners that they have no idea are out there. And I always talk about the number one is the SBA, right? They never use it, but I keep singing that song. But tell them who you are and then tell them what you do.
So, my company, and my name is Mary Adelman, and I'm with Green Star Services. My business has been in existence for 20 years. I actually started the business as a virtual assistant, and I, about 10 years ago, changed it to business consulting for small businesses.
Mm-hmm.
I have a wealth of knowledge. I was a acting regional director for a small business development center in Northwest Jersey. I work with CDFI currently. I counsel people who want to run their business and find the resources that are out there to do that effectively and efficiently and within their means of dollars.
I know
And
it. I love that. I love that. I say every business owner in the world who knows me should be listening right now because this is
absolutely.
information what they need and they don't know they need it.
Yeah.
And so they don't know where to go and all of that. And you're such a resource. I thought, oh yeah, I get to have her on. I am so excited. So
Thank
yeah,
you.
so talk about your business Green Star.
So Green Star really started as a VA. So back in the day, we all had administrative assistants. We didn't know how to do PowerPoint presentations or mailings or operational stuff. So that's how Green Star started.
Mm-hmm.
And then as I was working with business owners, I saw the need, like you see the need, that,
Absolutely.
I mean, it's across the country and even internationally that they don't know the resources that are available to them. And the beauty of it is those resources are free.
I know. Free
That's the
99, I
beauty.
call it.
Yeah. And so I started doing business counseling. I do more of project management as well. And I help with loan package preparation, really getting your business ready for a loan. Or if you are already an existing business, working on preparing that package, making sure your operations are effective. I do operational stuff as well. I love that. That's my
Love
bread
it.
and butter. Because if you have an efficient operation, your business will fly because your head will be clear to think strategically and not tactically.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I love that because strategy is where it is. Like
Mm-hmm.
a lot of people just throw their ideas against the wall and say, okay, let's try this
Mm-hmm.
and let's try that and let's try this. And you and I both know that strategy trumps that every single time,
Yes.
like moving with intentionality.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I know like yourself, you want to see the business owner succeed. You want,
absolutely.
and because if they succeed, you succeed, and it drives you even harder to help more and more people. Um,
Absolutely.
and that's really the goal of Green Star Services, is to make your business fly.
And that's the thing. And what I run into, and I don't know if you run into it too, I'm pretty sure you might, is owner's arrogance, right? And
Yes.
it's where
Yes.
it's where I know how to run a business
Yeah.
because I worked for whomever and I was doing it for them. I can do it for myself.
Yeah.
But it's so much more when you own it and you wear all the hats
Yes.
than it is if you were working for someone else as an employee. Like it's a
Absolutely.
whole different world. And that's the part I run into the most. Like the people who could benefit the most
Mm-hmm.
are the ones who are like, well, I know how to run a business because the good ones make it look easy.
Yes, they do.
So let's talk about what you see in your line of business. Like if you were to say there are three mistakes that most new businesses or even existing businesses make repeatedly that gets in front of their success, what would you say those three things were?
They don't have a plan.
Mm,
Their focus is very narrow in what they see their business doing. The second thing, actually, it's the first thing really, is they haven't prepared financially for
mm,
starting a business.
wow.
Um, yes, you can start a business bootstrapping it, but in the end, you are going to need the finances to grow it, because you're going to need to put the resources in place to help that happen, whether it's hiring interns, if it's hiring somebody, marketing, so those resources need to be there financially.
Yeah,
A lot of times business owners have an expectation financially that, oh, I'll just go get a business loan. That ain't going to happen right away to start up businesses. So it really is clawing to get the money around what you're trying to do. And I think the third thing is it goes to, they don't know all the components
mm,
that and those intricacies of how they all link together to run the business.
absolutely.
So I think those are the three main things that are important. And
Mhm.
the other thing I'll tell people, don't be afraid to ask for help. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
people are willing to share the resources, when
yeah,
you go and do things, ask, like, what service do you use? Why did you think it was better than anything else? That type of thing. Ask the question. The worst thing they could say is no.
absolutely, absolutely. So you said planning,
Yes.
right? Planning and then sitting up financially to
Yes.
be
Yep.
ready. And then
Yep.
the third one is understanding operations,
Yes.
like how
Hmm.
all the pieces fit together. And you and I both can attest there are many moving pieces
Yes.
in having a successful business.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
that's I couldn't agree more. I think all of those things could be helped if they had a great counselor or a coach
Yes.
or even a mentor,
Hmm.
right? Like
Yes.
anybody who has experience that they can lean can help them get around most of these things.
Hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah, and so what I run into though is like people want to be on the island. No, leave me alone. Let me run my business. Leave me alone. No, no, I don't want to know. I'm good at this.
Hmm.
And I've seen people have great ideas, great products, great services that could really do well as a business. But what gets in front of them is themselves.
Absolutely.
And so, the first thing about a business, and other thing is they build a business based on them and what they like and don't like
Hmm.
and not listening to customers.
Right.
Like that's my number. So the class that I teach from Kaufman, we started yesterday. We were in the ideate. They have 5 modules. First one is ideate, and it's talking about is it a good idea, but it also talks about are you a good person? Are you a good person to operate a business? Because asking some hard questions about what does that look like and who you are,
Yeah.
like knowing who you are at first. We won't talk about the business owner again. Like yesterday, our
Right.
first class, we go deep dive. How do you learn? How do you grab information? Who you are, what you like, what you don't like. We talk everything about the business owner, and then that's it. Everything else is about the customer, because a smart business owner understands that it's about the customer and not about them.
Absolutely. And so much so now in the marketplace, that is all you're seeing. If you are on, the one thing I could tell everybody is you better be signed up for the SBA newsletter. You better be signed up for your local economic development authority newsletter, because that will keep you current. And then marketing, if you're looking how you're talking the message to the customers, everybody should be signed up for HubSpot's newsletter.
I know it. I know it.
I mean, everybody. Those are the three that I would tell, because that will give you, okay, I'm sure Linda does as well, but I do every morning. The first 30 minutes of my morning is going through all the newsletters that I receive in my inbox. I'm not telling you to read them like from front to cover. You're looking at the bullet points. Okay,
Yeah,
this is relevant to a customer I'm dealing with. This is relevant to something I want to execute. And you put it aside and you go back and you look at it later. But everything is customer experience right now.
exactly.
You've got to be current on what's happening in the marketplace.
Absolutely. My marketing people always talk about the UI, right? Or the UX, the user experience, the user experience, or how the user's interested, or engaging users. Everything is about the users of the services and products that business owners provide. However, we get caught up, and so many small businesses get caught up in, and I'll use purple because purple is just a color. A lot of my friends love purple. But they say things about, well, my business is going to be all purple, and I'm going to put purple this, and I'm going to be purple that, and that's fine and good if your customers can deal with it, right? But if your customer's favorite color is not purple, or if they're not just as engaged in purple as you are limiting your reach, because believe it or not, purple turns some people off rather than on, and that's what you don't want. And so, teal, my lamps, teal is my favorite color, but it's nowhere. It's on this because this is where I am, but it's nowhere on my business cards. It's not on my website. It's not anywhere, because when I'm in consulting, I learned that blue is a good color.
Yes, it is.
Trusting, right? I learned that white and blue and black are great colors to put together when you're trying to build trust with customers. Like, there's a whole color wheel that I introduce my students to have, because the science is proof, right? And so business is a science, and just understanding what works and what doesn't. So talk about some of the things that you think most businesses, be it new or existing, could benefit from. You already said the SBA newsletter. And so SBA.gov, I'm going to put that in the chat so that people can sign up. And that doesn't matter where you are. The SBA.gov is going to be a service to you wherever you are.
Absolutely. So within the SBA, under the SBA, they have three organizations that offer business counseling, counseling, mentoring, depending on the agency. So the first one is SCORE. And SCORE is a series of individuals that have worked in the corporate environment or currently are working in the corporate environment that want to work with small business owners. So they have big business knowledge, and they're transferring it to the startup businesses and the smaller businesses. The beauty of SCORE, because I'm also a SCORE counselor, is if I'm working with a client, there's a database that I can access and put in, if I'm looking for somebody that's mergers and acquisitions. I don't have that experience. I can type mergers and acquisitions, and it will give me a list of all the SCORE counselors across the country that I can tap into and have them counsel a business owner. on mergers and acquisitions, or we
Mm.
do a joint counseling session. They also do training programs. Their programs are very good, and I'd encourage everyone to go check them out. They're sometimes an hour, hour and a half. They're also a good resource for funding. It's not 100% funding. Like our New Jersey chapter just did a pitch competition.
Yes.
Okay. And in that pitch competition, the winner gets $4,000. So that's a newsletter you want. You want to get connected with your local score to get the newsletters, so you see when they're doing things like this that you can take advantage of.
Absolutely.
The other organization is the Small Business Development Centers, or SBDC. It's a national organization. It does not cost you anything to sign up for a coaching session or a counseling session with a counselor. They have resources, and they can also, if you're starting up, or even if you're in an existing business and you're looking to do an expansion in your business, they have a database that they can do market research for you.
Yep.
So you want to take advantage of that. So that you have to request that research through a counselor. So get you signed up with a counselor. But that resource is SBDC Net.
Mm-hmm.
And that SBDC Net has other information that is relevant to people who are starting a business or want to or already are in business, because there's industry reports there. That's the second one. The third one is the Women's Business Centers, and they work exclusively with women. They have training programs. They're throughout the country. So those three fall under the SBA, meaning they get funding for the SBA to offer that service.
Absolutely.
Okay. And your economic developments within your states, your state economic developments, are also a great resource, because if you are looking to move from California to Oregon, you can call them and ask for like a report of real estate. They can help you relocate if you're a big manufacturing company, because they want the job creation in the state. So that's the fourth thing that I would look at. And then within your counties, there's an economic development in the county. Now, when Sandy and COVID hit and everything, that's how all the money was funneled. It was funneled from the SBA to the economic development. And a lot of the counties and the states are still rolling out dollars from Sandy money, not Sandy, from COVID money, because they got more. So you need to look with your economic developments locally, because they're always running programs.
I like it. I like it. Those are four very good resources.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing about it, because I hear all the time, I hear a business owner say things like, when I say, what's your number one problem? They'll say, access to capital. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a quick response, right? Access to capital. And then when I start, looking behind the curtain and say, okay, are you ready to get capital? Mm-hmm. Oh, what does that mean? Like, do you have a business plan? Have you been filing taxes for your business? Right. Like, do you have employees? Do you have proof of employees? Do you have a financial system? Mm-hmm. Like, these things that the people who have money to give are going to ask for.
Yes.
And what I find, I don't know if that's what you see on your side. On my side, I find that they need some assessment of their business models to make sure that they're fundable.
Correct. So what happens is, if you're going for a loan, if it's not a loan but a grant, you also need a sound opportunity, a business plan, and sound financials. So what does that look like? If you're an existing business, it's not a full-blown business plan. It's a modified business plan. And SCORE actually has a template that they will guide you through. I mean, they write the notes right in the plan. And if you're a startup business, then there's a business plan template that you can use. why am I doing a business plan? Because you're explaining to them where you want to take the business, and then you're showing them cash flow projections of how you're going to pay the loan back.
Yes.
So a lot of times, and I've seen a number of plans, and I've seen people who have hired people to write the plans. And if you hire somebody to write the plan, you better know that plan inside and out. Because
Absolutely. And
the
that's the
banker
thing.
is going to ask you the questions.
That's
And
the
if you,
thing. That's the
Mhm.
thing. Because I actually write business plans, right? And
Yeah.
then what I find is a lot of people just want me to write a plan and give it to them.
Yep.
And that's not going to cut it.
Mm-mm.
Because you're going to be asked about your numbers.
Right.
You need to know your numbers. You need to know your financial statements.
Mhm.
Like, and that's the thing. Because, you know, some people do that. Some people will sell you a business plan easily.
Correct.
But that is not fundable. That is
No.
not in long term. And if my name's going on it, it has to be fundable. Like you have to. So not only do I offer them to write their plan, but we actually go through their business model.
Yep.
And I tell them where they need to work on things that don't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so a lot of manual processes when you're the only employee, that's not good.
That's not going to work. That's not going to work.
No.
And what I find in the business plans, people, they get to certain sections and they freeze up.
Financial.
And they go, how do I make these numbers? You're making an educated guess. And what I mean by an educated guess is you're doing your research. So let's say you want to do a social media campaign and you want to hire one intern. You have to figure out how many hours they're going to work, how much you're going to pay them, and how long you're going to keep them on the books. Okay. So when you get to your marketing and one of your categories is social media, you now have an understanding of what that dollar looks like.
Absolutely.
Your insurance, your business liability insurance, if you need industry insurance, if like you're in pharmaceutical or technology, cybersecurity insurance.
Absolutely.
You know, you need to price them out. Go get a bid from it. Take 3 and look at what they're giving you. And it's an educated guess. It's not like, oh, I'm just pulling numbers out of the hat. That's not what you're doing.
Real numbers. Real
Yes,
numbers. I cannot
real
stress
numbers.
it. Yes. Everything about that plan needs to have real numbers, not guesstimations.
Right.
Because a lot of people, you know, they go in to write their own plans and they use guesstimations.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, because the person that receives that, they're going to know exactly what those numbers need to look like, at least within a range of reasonableness.
Yes. So the other thing that is helpful too, when you get into the marketing section and your industry, for everyone that has completed a college degree, most of the colleges and some of your public libraries might have this, but I know the colleges have it. It's called an IBIS report. It's an industry report that you can go in for your industry, and it will give you a 5-year look forward. And that tells you right there if it's worth pursuing what you're going to pursue, because the industry, it's based on what's happening in the marketplace.
Absolutely.
And what they see happening. So if you can get your hands on that, even if you don't need the business plan, go get your hands on it.
That is great information. And you know what I find though, when it comes to knowing their industry, like most people don't even know their industries.
Right.
And you have to get the IBIS report, which is a great resource. Like I use it for my plans, but it's a great resource because they've done the research for you.
Yep.
For almost every industry. And so, you know, knowing a lot of the business plans that I see that people write for themselves don't go deep enough into understanding the industry they're in.
Right.
They're just selling something.
Yeah.
But you need to have that.
Yes. And okay, so let's look at that industry data. How do you get that? If you're in the transportation industry or the retail industry, you want to look at associations, chambers, associations have that data that you can pull. Every organization, every industry has an association. So those associations will put free resources up for you as a prospective new member can look at that information. So the information's there. You just need to know where to look at it. And that's where, Linda and I come in. And part of what we're doing tonight is to share that with you. And the resources with the counselors, I may not have the same resources that Linda has or that Jane down the street has, who counsels business owners. And as industry professionals, we do share resources. We know what works, and it helps you as a business owner to grow the business and be educated and not be somebody that, the new AI chat GPT and copy whatever. I actually had a client write a whole grant proposal using chat GPT.
Oh my goodness.
I was like, are you kidding me?
Oh my goodness.
And I had a colleague yesterday ask me about the AI arena and what she thought that meant for our world. And that it's changing our world.
It is changing. I think it's enhancing us in what we do. Yes. I don't think it's because, the thing about it, if you've ever pulled, those of you who are writing business plans and using AI as your resource, okay, those notations are not correct.
No.
So,
no.
Those words cited and out, they're not correct. And so I don't think it'll ever get to the point where we're not needed. However, AI has its place, right? Yes. And I look at that. It's like I look at computers. Like when computers first came out, everybody was like, "Oh no, computers! Yeah. We're in the Jetsons era,"
Yes. Yes.
And so I get people's caution with going there, but it will enhance what you do rather than distract from it if you use it properly.
Right. So one way, and I'll go back to the business plan in a second, but I had a client last week. He couldn't get out of his own way to do social media or a newsletter for the life of him, which is fine because we all have different levels of skills. That was not his strength. But I said, use the chat GPT to give you the header for the newsletter. Just put the words of what you're doing. And it worked. And he's like, he got the highest open rate that he's gotten since he started. And he was like, Mayor, it worked. And I'm like, okay, that's what it was supposed to do, But those are the things. They're tools that you use for your business.
Absolutely.
So back to the business plan. It's like, take a stab at it, use the SBDCs, the SCORE people, because they review business plans. They have seen enough of them. They know if it's going to work. They help you improve it. So when you are ready to go to the bank, it's a sold deal because your numbers match what your text matches.
Absolutely. And it's important that your text and numbers match.
Yes.
You can't say one thing in the writing and then your charts, your financial statements say something totally different. Like, no, it's not going to work. It has to be congruent all the way through.
Correct. Correct.
And that's the thing. And so, I never want to distract from people who want to write their own plans. Mm-hmm. In fact, I have a whole thing to show them what needs to go in all the different parts. Mm-hmm. What I do suggest is they get another set of eyes to look at it.
Yes.
Like I would say, go talk to your banker and get your banker to look at it and see if it makes sense. Because it's not about the money. It's about you fulfilling your dreams.
Right.
And so, like you said, the SBA has a free template on their website. You just put in business plan and it's a free template that you key into. And when you're done, it has a printable business plan ready. Now, I wouldn't submit that unless another set of eyes saw it first.
Right.
But it does get you started.
Yes.
Yeah. So business plan. Okay. So let's talk about the finances. Let's talk about the three. So regardless of what you're applying for, you need to understand your income statement. You need to understand your cash flow statement, and you need to, and the profit and loss or income statement are transferable, but you also need to understand your balance sheet.
Right.
and how those impact your business. And you really need to understand them to operate your business, because you can influence those numbers
Right.
by the decisions you make. Like
Mm-hmm.
if your cost of goods is too high, you get to go find another supplier.
Right.
But if you don't know what that looks like.
So a lot of times when people go to do their business plan and they're doing their projections, what I see quite frequently is they'll take a number for revenue and they'll just do, I'm going to use $500 as an example.
Okay.
They're going to put $500 across 12 months.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, people, that doesn't work. Does not work. Every
Why?
business, why? Every business has a cycle. So let's just take a florist, for example. January, there's no business. February, they're swamped because of Valentine's Day. April and May is Easter and Mother's Day. When you hit the summer months, their numbers tank because it's too hot. They don't start seeing revenue again until October.
Absolutely.
So you have at least 5 months where there's not an increase of revenue coming in. So when you're doing those projections, don't just do a flat number across the board. That's one. Now you're ready to go for your loan. When you go for your loan, the misconception is that the SBA gives money. SBA does not give money. They work with the local lenders that are in the different states, counties, municipalities, and those banks have to go through a process to become qualified as an SBA lender. Okay. When you go for an SBA loan, it's backed by the SBA. So if you default on the loan, it's backed by the SBA. There's a whole formula that they work around. I don't know that formula, so I'm not even going to go there. But when you go for a bank loan, you need to have your business plan, your projections, and all your documentation. So what is that documentation? First and foremost is they want to know if you have collateral. So if you have a house and you are not willing to sign that as your collateral, don't even go see the bank. They don't even want to talk to you. If you have liquid stocks that can be liquidated, that is counted as collateral. They want the hard cash that they can pull the money from. So you need the collateral. Then you're going to need 3 years of tax returns. Okay.
Woo.
You're just starting out. Yeah.
Woo. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
But I'm a sole proprietor and I haven't filed for my business.
So they are going to look at your personal tax returns. So they are going to look at the revenue that is coming into your household to see if you can sustain paying back the loan when it comes due. So you need to know that they're going to pull your personal tax returns. Then there is a series of, if you are a partnership and you personally are going for the loan and your partner is somebody else, they're going to look at that partner's credit as well. Okay. So you need to have that conversation prior to jumping in the pool and say, oh, we're going to start a business together.
And let's put a pin right there, because partnerships, you know, I tell my clients, if you're not going to marry them, I wouldn't partner with them, because if you wouldn't marry them, I wouldn't partner with them. The thing about it is that's a relationship, and it's bigger than just we going into business together. That person can sign for you. That person can speak in your absence, and you're liable. And if you don't trust them to speak for you, to be you when you're not present, you know, you can I have had business owners who they did great. They did great in having conversations. You know, I was writing their business plan. I was writing their business plan. Things were going well. And then they got where they were going to purchase some equipment together. And when they got ready to purchase the equipment together, one of the partners found out that the other partner had just ran into a windfall of money and didn't have the kind of money they said they had.
Yeah.
And so they get there, and that person's credit score was not what they had been professing it to be. And they met at the vendor's office where they were going to buy the equipment. They thought they were good to go. And when people start running credit reports,
Yeah.
it became it fell apart. It unraveled very quickly.
Yeah. So let's talk about credit. Most people, when you go for a business loan, your credit score has to be 560 and above. And that 560 is for the minimum amount, anything under $50,000. If it's more than that, the credit score has to be higher.
Yes.
And their primary concern is that you can pay the loan back. So
Absolutely.
you have your traditional banks, but there's other ways that you can go after funding for your business. Across the country, and I actually work with one of them. They're called CDFIs.
Yes.
And they work across the country, very similar to a bank. The difference there is they have other sources besides the SBA for dollars. So I'll give you an example. I work for UCEDC, and they're a CDFI, and they also do training programs. But with that, we do specific loans that are available for specific counties. Like we have a program right now, one of our counties, we are doing a loan. It's a micro loan, but they can do it to that detail. So they got an infusion of capital from another source that they can put out into the marketplace to increase the economics within the state.
Absolutely. We did it. We have the same thing here. Tennessee Valley Credit Union does it for our area.
Yeah. And it's a good alternative to a traditional bank. I will tell you, if you're a small business, don't go with like a very large bank, meaning like Chase is a good bank to do. Bank of America, they're not a small business bank. They're a big business bank.
Right.
So you want to look at local community banks that you can work with when you're looking who you're going to shop around with a loan. And if you have a personal account, go talk to your banker, because they know your payment, they know your history, your credit history, your bank balances, so that you have a reputation with them that you can start there to have that conversation.
Absolutely. But that's important. Having that banker's conversation.
Yes.
Like I send so many nonprofits and for-profit businesses to say, well, have you talked to your banker? And they're like, no. But you should. You should talk to your banker. That's where your money is.
Yes.
And so having those conversations when it's time for you to get financing, they may know something that you don't.
Right. So the third thing is, most people go, I want a grant. It's like, okay, that's a loaded question.
Yes, I get that all the time.
You need to have business plan, projections. Each grant is different. They have their own criteria. They also have their own criteria of what you are going to do. And I will share with Linda that I have a list of about 25 that she can share with the group after the call. But they're out there all over the place. So like Comcast Rise has a program. Verizon has a program. Kaufman has a program. Then you also want to look at incubators and accelerator programs, because those incubators and accelerator programs, there's traditionally funding tied to the back end of you completing the program. Now, it's not going to be $25,000 or $50,000. It's going to be $5,000 or $10,000. Goldman Sachs, has a program. American Express has a program that you can go through, and it's a training program, but it's serious time commitment.
Exactly.
To get the money at the end of the rainbow there. So you have to look at, when you're looking at the grant, you want to make sure it's being covered in that specific territory that you are in, and then that it's addressing the right industry. So right now, there's a lot of grants out there for women.
Yep.
Not so many for the men. Every single one of you can go after right away, and it does not require like your life. It's it's called the NAV Quarterly Grant. It's a $10,000 grant that they have criteria for, and you can participate every quarter. If you win the quarter, you have to wait a quarter before you can apply again. And it has to do with social media postings and around marketing and different things like that. But that's one everybody can go after right off the top. So,
and then locally you have, because here in Chattanooga, we have a group of people, they're called the Foundation, right?
Yeah.
And if you are doing something that is going to better the community, for profit or nonprofit, they give away $3,000 a month.
Nice.
And a lot of times what I find is business owners don't need as much money as they think they need.
Right.
They want thousands, but a few hundred could get them where they need to be constructively if they need to firm up their infrastructure. You know, I talk about, so let's talk about Shark Tank.
Okay.
Because so many businesses want to go on Shark Tank, and I'm thinking, you're
not even ready for Shark Tank.
You're not ready for Shark Tank. So, you know, because it looks good on TV.
Yeah.
Right. And I told my class yesterday, I said, go Google how many businesses have been on Shark Tank and it closed their doors.
Yeah.
Like, those are true stories.
Yeah.
Because being on Shark Tank, you have to have your logistics in place.
Yeah.
You have to have your operations in place. Like, you have to have so many things on point that it will close your door. And that's the realistic side of it, because I'm not painting a picture, and I'm not saying don't go on Shark Tank. Please don't think that. What I'm saying is there's a preparation. You have to, in any case, whether you're trying to get the money that Mary's talking about from these agencies or these grants or whatever, there's a preparation and process that you need to complete first before you go after any money.
Right. Right.
Especially that type of money.
Right. So a lot of times in prepping for that, think of it, a lot of times I'll have people come in front of me and say, oh, well, I want an investor. Okay. Investor is the same thing. You need to be prepared. Same Shark Tank. You need to be prepared. Your numbers need to be there, that you have the capability to just, it's like you're speaking about your family history.
Yeah.
And it needs to just flow. You need to know your numbers. You need to know your margins, your percentages. So let's talk about the operations of your business as a single owner. You are wearing all of those hats up on your little head, and you're going, oh my God, I got people coming at me so much that I don't know how to put that in place. You need a good technology platform, CRM system that you can do it. You need to know that if you're a landscaper, don't tell the client to call you. Set up a calendar link that you can send them an email with the link, and you can set up the time that's convenient for both of you. There's a number of calendar platforms out there. You know, you've got to think smarter and not work so hard. Okay.
Exactly. And that automation, period. Automation in your business, technology in your business. Like I get that before we didn't have this access, and a lot of people did things manually, and a lot of people rely on manual processes and procedures. Right. In this day of high tech, there's no room for that.
No. Either find a platform that you can do your meetings on Zoom. And the other important thing is you need to have, your backgrounds need to look professional, you know, where you have the, like Linda has her logo up on the top. That needs to be professional. You need to be in an area that people know how to get in touch with you if they need to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And business cards. I mean, it's not a lot to do business cards. Vistaprint. I mean, it's $250 for 500 cards, it's not a lot of money. So there's ways to do it, but it's setting it up where, I'll give you an example. My neighbor upstairs, she said to me, "Oh, I'm going to do a presentation." And I said, "Do you have business cards?" No. She went and did a presentation and had no business cards. So how are the people going to get in touch with her? And so many times people go to networking events and don't have their business cards. The most important thing is your name, company name, email, and phone number, at least so they know how to get to you.
Absolutely. And the thing about that, and I'm not even against the people who have the digital cards.
Right.
A lot of people have digital cards on their cell phone. They get your number, they see your digital card. I'm not against that at all. And really, and here's the thing is I teach people when you go to networking events to be intentional. Like, everybody doesn't need your card because everybody's not going to call you.
Right.
But the people that you want to be memorable to, the people that you want to connect with on the other side, they need to know right away. Make it easy for people to reach you. Like, what's going to make you memorable? Make it easy for people who want to do business with you to find you. And so, yeah. And Mary was like Vistaprint, right? So she's giving us some resources here. I like it. I like it. So Vistaprint, absolutely. Vistaprint, move.com. Like, there are places out there that will make your card, will create the graphic. Some of them have templates, so you don't even have to make up the graphic. You can just say whatever you do, and then it's as simple as typing your name and address in and phone number. You type your information, they already have the background and graphics, and they look very professional. Easy stuff. Easy stuff.
Yeah. So you need to be prepared. You need to be prepared. If you are a consultant or a speaker, have a speaker package together. The best thing I can tell anyone, and I'll send it to Linda because I have it electronically. When you go into government contracting, they require a capability statement. In that capability statement, it's basically the one page about you and your company. So it's broken down into quadrants. If you can create just that and make that your main document that you can work with, you don't need a cage number because you're not ready to be certified yet. If you are ready to be women's business certified and you only need, from on a state level, you only need revenues, like one sale, and you can go after the certification. But it's a work in process that will help you keep everything tight, that you look professional. So I actually had a client, and she shared it with me, and I loved it. She did it on a postcard. She put her capability statement on the postcard. And when she went to networking events, that's what she handed out. It gave people a complete picture of who she was. So if you're doing speaking engagements, they want to know what qualifies you to speak. So you have to have that information in place. And it's not hard to do. It's a one-page document. We're not talking about writing a manual here. It's bullet points that you can address, even from a lender's perspective, that you walk in and you give them something. They're like, okay, this person has their act together.
Absolutely. And I tell my clients and students, it's an introduction to you, right? And think one page, think one-sided one page. Like, think about, you're introducing, it's just a high level, about you and your business. Think resume for your business.
Right.
That's what the capability statement is. It's a resume for your business. And so at a glance. So it's not really in deep. It's not full sentences. It's not, everything you ever done in life. It's just the high points. And so having that capability statement is good thing to have for every business. Like, what's the resume for your business? And Khadijah, thank you for joining us. I really appreciate your input. But this is for any business person. So share. everybody's going to need this. And so we're going to close because I want to make sure we have enough room to put this on Instagram to make sure people can find it. So if you were thinking about, you're very welcome, dear. If you were thinking about something that you want our viewers to take away from this conversation, I'm going to give you a minute to talk to them. So go ahead and
so
give them
SBA is the first and foremost. The other thing is your New Jersey, not New Jersey, but your local economic development. You're also your New Jersey Division of Taxation for their newsletter. It will keep you current in what's happening. To be successful, you need to be educated. So use the resources that are available to you, the SBDCs, the SCORE, the Women's Business Center, economic development, different organizations like the Kauffman Foundation. They also have, Verizon has a huge platform. They're all driving that way. Use those platforms. Hello Alice, if you're looking for grants, go sign up for their newsletters. I don't care if you do the stuff on the back end of it, but you want the newsletter because they put grants out on a weekly basis. And sometimes you get 3 newsletters in a week. Those are grant opportunities. So talk to other business owners. They want to be able to share their knowledge with you. Some will, some won't, most will. Ask a question if you network with somebody. What was the best platform that you used for your CRM system, which is your customer management system? So you want to be able to, don't be afraid to network. People get stuck in their skin and they're like, oh, I'm fearful. I don't want to do it. You just need to put yourself out there, look for a smaller group that you're more comfortable with, and then grow into the bigger groups. Like some people are comfortable walking into a room full of suits. I'm not one of those people. I know it. Do I have to do it? Yes, I do have to do it. So you need to know where your comfort level is, but you also need to push yourself. The resources are also available through your local banks. They know a bunch of things too. So to Linda's point, talk to your business, to your banks and ask them, I'm looking for an attorney or an accountant. Use those referrals because they're trusted referrals. And I thank you for having me today. It's been a wonderful experience, and I wish everyone the best of luck. Thank you, Linda.
I love it. Oh, you are welcome. And my name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. I just plugged you into how your business can go from busy to funded. We want to get you funded. We want to get you to the money. Go back and do the replay. If you have any questions, but by all means, put them on there. I've also added, so she talked about some things she's given me. So here's how that works. If you want to get the things she's talking about sending to me, you have to join the free business Facebook group, which is Building Your Own 6-Figure Business. It's on Facebook. It's a free group. The things that she is going to give me will be put in there on Teach Us Tuesday, because Tuesday is when we learn different things and we get to learn about each other's businesses in that group. So it's called Building Your Own 6-Figure Business, and it's on Facebook, and it's a free group for you to join. Answer all the questions to get in. You can't just go in. You have to answer all the questions. There was only 3 or 4. They're very, very simple. They're, who are you? What's your email address? What do you do? Very simple. But you need to answer those questions, join the group so you can get this list that she's talking about of prerequisites for you to get your funded. We're trying to get you funded. I'll see you next week here on the Business Plugs Mixer at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. And for the rest of the week, enjoy your holiday, but have a great week, everyone. We'll see you next week at 7 p.m. Eastern.
Bye. Thank you.